But let's start with the good news today, because India's pride in silver medalist at Rio, PV Sindu, and her super coach Pullela Gopichand returned home to a rousing welcome in Hyderabad today. Let's take a look first at their homecoming journey, right from the moment where she landed at Hyderabad airport to the special felicitation at the Gachibowli stadium. You thought only cricketers would get such a reception? Take a look.
India's hero of the Olympics Games finally emerged to get a rousing reception. PV Sindhu returned home to a hero's welcome. Sindhu and her coach Gopichand landed at the Hyderabad airport at around 9:30 in the morning, and from there the party began. Ministers and political leaders greeted the 21-year-old shuttler with bouquets, shawls and selfies at the Rajiv Gandhi International Airport. From the airport, the duo took an open-top motorcade to the Gachibowli Stadium. Fans gathered along the 20-kilometer route from the airport to the stadium to catch a glimpse of their icon. Tremendous energy awaited at Gachibowli, as though the entire city of Hyderabad was present there. The Olympic silver medalist was felicitated in front of a packed crowd, ranging from students to teachers to IT professionals.
Thank you for everything. Mukyanga, me support wala, me blessings wala ivala neni karunna cheppachu. And especially my Guru Gariki, Gopichand Gariki, thank you, because ayana valla nenu ivali ikkada unnanu. And also my parents ki, because they have really supported me and chala motivate chesaru.
Pullela Gopichand, the man behind Sindhu's success, a disciplinarian, a tough taskmaster who made Sindhu the icon that she is today.
Thank you very much to the entire government for this wonderful support. Ee roju మేము ఇక్కడ ఇంత బాగా పర్ఫార్మ్ చేయడానికి మాకు ఇన్ని రోజుల నుంచి మాకు ఎప్పుడూ సపోర్ట్ చేసిన మీ అందరికీ మన గవర్నమెంట్ కి వుడ్ లైక్ టు థ్యాంక్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దెమ్ ఫర్ దిస్ వండర్ఫుల్ సపోర్ట్ ఓవర్ ద ఇయర్స్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
స్వాగతం పలుకుతోంది వేదిక. సింధు గారిని గోపిచంద్ గారిని మరోమారు స్వాగతిస్తూ.
Well, it did not end at the Gachibowli Stadium. There was a felicitation being held at the Gopichand Academy too. And it was a sweet ending to the day as young girls of the Gopichand Academy awaited their icon with the perfect gift: ice creams.
Why have you prepared ice cream for her?
She's fond of ice cream. She likes ice cream very much.
Everyone knows Sindhu's love for ice creams, and it is going to be a sweet party for PV Sindhu when she comes to the academy of her guru, Pullela Gopichand, for the first time after winning her medal. Sports Bureau, India Today.
So those were the scenes in Hyderabad, and there is even more good news for PV Sindhu and all those who performed well at the Rio Olympics. The government has decided to honor 4 athletes with the Khel Ratna awards. For the first time, the award will be shared by 4: shuttler PV Sindhu, wrestler Sakshi Malik, gymnast Deepa Karmakar, and ace shooter Jitu Rai will be given the highest sporting honor in the country. The first time when 4 athletes will receive this honor together. Now that's of course the good news that came from Rio. There is of course the depressing news. On the last day, a shocking tale of apathy has surfaced where Indian marathon runners are alleging that they were forced to run without getting enough water. Even as the country comes to terms with its worst ever Olympic performance in nearly 2 decades, questions are being once again raised whether the Indian officials in Rio deserted the marathon team, or was it the fault of the organizers?
Just a year ago, she ran the marathon in the Beijing World Championship in 2 hours 34 minutes. In Rio, she took 13 minutes longer. So why this huge difference? What changed for national record holder O.P. Jaisha?
It was sheer apathy on the part of the Indian officials in Rio. They were supposed to provide water, glucose and energizers to the athletes. But the Indian counter was empty with just the Indian flag. Officials had disappeared and left the athletes to fend for themselves.
As a result, Jaisha and the other Indian marathon contender, Kavita Tungar, had to run the entire 42.5-kilometer parched, with water only available at counters run by Rio organizers every 8 kilometers. Too long a distance for any runner. Jaisha managed to cover the distance but collapsed at the finish line.
Marathon runners need water to keep hydrating. They run many kilometers. They need water constantly to actually stay in the race. Water stations on a routine basis are set up at a distance of every 2.5 kilometers. That's where the marathon runners actually stop and hydrate themselves. Runners are given water at these desks, sponges, glucose and also energy gels, which are very essential to keep them running. But what happens when those desks are either absent or, in India's case, shockingly empty? There were no personnel sitting at those desks, nobody to actually give Jaisha the water and administer whatever glucose or anything else she actually needed. Athletes were forced to run without water. That's the most shocking case. 2.5 kilometers, after every bit of that distance they're supposed to be getting water, they actually got nothing. Water available only every 8 kilometers at organizer counters. The Rio Olympics organizers counters had water. So instead of every 2.5 kilometers, Jaisha and the other runners had to run 8 kilometers before they could actually get water. She collapsed. She was unconscious. This picture actually depicts what happened immediately after the race. For 2 to 3 hours, she fainted. She was completely unconscious.
The images couldn't have been starker. Politicians and babus jostling to get their moment with the winner, while their ilk too busy taking selfies and enjoying Rio. With Akshay Anath in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
Hopi Jaisha joins me. Also joining me from Rio de Janeiro is our consulting sports editor Boria Majumdar with the very latest on this latest controversy to hit the Indian contingent there. पहले जयशा ये बताइए, आप बताइए कि क्या हुआ एग्जैक्टली? क्या कोई ऑफिशियल वहां था या नहीं आपके साथ जब आप मैराथन दौड़ रही थी?
ऑफिशियल तो था, ऑफिशियल वही तो मैं बोला ना, चीफ कोच बहादुर सर आया था, मैं हमारे साथ, और डिप्यूटी चीफ कोच आया था मेरे साथ, और मेरा कोच पर्सनल कोच आया, मीन्स मेरा कोच डॉक्टर निकोलाई सर आया था, ये लोग सब लोग था. बट 42 किलोमीटर रोड है, वो लोग मेरे पीछे नहीं भाग सकता. कैसा वो लोग मेरे पीछे भागेगा? अगर ट्रैक है तो ठीक है, वो लोग मेरे साथ साथ मुझे मिल सकता, बट रोड में 42 किलोमीटर वो लोग क्या कर सकते? वो लोग तो मेरे पीछे नहीं आ पाएगा.
आपके पीछे नहीं भाग पाए, लेकिन पानी, क्या ये सही है कि आपको पानी नहीं मिल रहा था और किसी ऑफिशियल ने कोशिश नहीं की कि आपको 2.5 किलोमीटर पर पानी रेगुलरली मिले?
नहीं, ऐसा हमको नहीं पता था ऐसा सिचुएशन होगा. हमको नहीं पता, कंपटीशन का पहले हमको नहीं पता था, क्योंकि वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप भागा उसी टाइम भी ऐसा था. हर जगह में खाना, मीन्स वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में बीजिंग में था, चाइना, हर चीज अवेलेबल था उधर में. बट रियो में कुछ भी अवेलेबल नहीं था. यही प्रॉब्लम हो गया, क्योंकि हमारे ऑफिशियल भी वही सोचा होगा, क्योंकि ये कॉमन सेंस का बात है. मैराथन है, उसी जगह में सब कुछ पानी खाना सब कुछ होगा, ये कॉमन सेंस का बात है. और हमारे ऑफिशियल रखने वाला काम नहीं है, रियो लोग ही रखना है ये वाला.
Jaisha, interestingly, Boria is blaming the Rio organizers. In the morning, the story was going that it was the Indian officials who failed her. What is the truth, Boria? Who is to be held accountable? The Indian officials or the Rio organizers if she claims she didn't get water at the regular intervals that you need in a marathon that she was running?
Rajdeep, in several other cases the Indian officials are to blame, but not in this one. And I can tell you this, I've spoken to Kavita, who also ran the marathon, and both Jaisha and Kavita spoke to Indian officials, or rather Indian officials spoke to them the night before and asked that, do you need us to be there with water or any kinds of supplements? And both of them said no, because the Rio organizers will be there. So in this case the Indian officials are not to blame, rather the Rio organizers are to blame, because it is not a fault of Indian officials. And what C.K. Walson has come on record to India Today saying that this is the truth. He's not sort of distorting facts. Several other cases our officials have completely goofed up, but not in this one.
Okay. Good to get that clarification from you, Boria Majumdar. In this instance, clearly the Rio organizers, you're saying, have more to answer for. But there has been much outrage, typically across news channels from the morning on this story. We leave it there. Thanks very much, Boria Majumdar, for joining us. We'll have more on the Olympics later on in the show. But up next.